right. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining, wherever you're listening to this particular video. Um, John Austin here, Coach Austin, as I'm known by a few people. Bank Ready channel is a channel. So if you guys have not liked, subscribed, joined us for this conversation and many more, we're taking my 18 years of experience, my team's 200 plus years of experience, and wanting to give a really concise subject matter experts' opinion, viewpoint, status point on various topics. You'll see the Bank Ready brand. It doesn't just mean that we're getting clients ready for financial institutions. It's a deeper dive into funding, cash flows, break evens, P&Ls, what a true small business needs, quite frankly. Make sure this camera's good so we are good to rock. There we go. I think that's even better. So I want to be a very organic channel. I don't want to be gimmicky. I'm not a self-proclaimed guru of any kind. What we teach and what we are presenting on any subject matter is based on what we as a team do. When I say we have staff, you'll hear me mention staff members' names like Kendra and Darian, Siobhan, and legal, and all the things that they do. We work with clients in the government contracting space. We help build capacity through innovation. We've been working with AI for a couple of years now, so nothing tremendously new for us. But every video that we put out will have a subject matter expert's perspective. And everything that we teach, that I teach through this Bank Ready channel, is going to be based on not how I think, how I feel, pulling stuff out of the air. I don't like to fearmonger. If I give you anything, it is on the perspective of, hey, this is what's out here. These are the facts based on the data, which you'll see today. I'll pull some data up from different sources where you can Google it and chat GPT it if you want. But I want you to go to the source and read it for yourself and see how it got started, where it's at now, and where it's going. So you can make a concerted effort in a decision, because a lot of you that are listening are business owners or aspiring entrepreneurs, or this will affect you one way or the other. And what we're talking about is the Corporate Transparency Act. What is it? How did it come about? Why is it here in the first place? How long has it been here? And how do you make a decision? I won't say don't do this, don't do that. I'll give my humble opinion as if I was consulting you, which I do quite often, to various stages of businesses, from a startup to a large firm. We work with all in between, quite frankly. If you follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, you'll see who and what we do dabble in, from federal agencies, local agencies, state agencies, corporations, small business, medium size. We've got to just, and we stay in that lane to where there's a certain thing that we do to build capacity for the businesses that we work with. So I want to dive in to this Corporate Transparency Act thing. There's a lot that's been put out, and I'm putting out this video mainly to just give the raw data of what it is. And some of the context I'm giving, I'll be honest, came from a few folks that are clients of ours. Good, and I won't put names out just because, but one client of ours is a couple, and they both have worked with the FBI. That's their previous, actually, one's still working with the FBI now, and they do the FinCiv reports. They've taken information and entered it into FinCiv, the Financial Crimes Network, and I'll break that down in a second, but just for an acronym, they put those reports together. And they've given me a ton of instances where people will report something to FinCiv and say, hey, I think this is going on, that's going on. They take the report in, but it's not immediately acted upon, because FinCiv is a data repository, right? Their agency is to collect the data. And there's certain things they do as a bureau, as an agency, to where if something comes across the radar, now they've got a pool of data that they can act on. And oftentimes, I was told that the data comes in and there's nothing wrong with this person or this company, right? It's just part of the course, oftentimes, which made me feel really good, because oftentimes on social media, we're hearing that FinCiv is some bad group. It's oh my God, they're coming out to shut down small business, or they don't want Black folks to be in business, or they don't want this to happen. And we're operating off the hip, off the cuff. And for me in my career, when I started out, 2001, two, when I spent time in cancer research with Baylor College of Medicine. There was a thing where you just can't say anything just to say it. You got to back it with source data, and if you don't, then people are going to call you out. And every Wednesday we had sessions, every Friday we had sessions, and anyone reporting on anything in that healthcare space in particular, you were backing it with peer-reviewed studies, with source data that was vetted. So you're basing your thesis off of real live information. So on this Bank Ready channel, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So I want to go in here and I want to share my screen with you guys on, what is this whole Corporate Transparency Act thing? How did this thing start about? What is it all about? Well, as some of you may or may not know, I'm not sure, but the Department of Defense runs so many things. They run a lot. They are I'm gonna say like the compliance arm. And the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2021, which is one that comes out basically every year, right? HR 6395. Google it, look it up. And I want you to notice this is a 4,000 page document, 4,517 pages. A lot of information in here, and I mean a lot. Now I'm going to scroll through this, and again, I want you to read it. Take your notes. Use this as a backdrop, as a thesis for you. Notice I put in the search bar beneficial ownership, and it came up 72 times. Okay, 72 times. But I'm going to scroll through this. I just want to give you an idea. We're not going to do all 4,000 pages, right? We're not going to do that. But I'm going to scroll through just to give you an idea of what's actually in these Department of Defense. Now, don't check out the channel just yet, because I know this stuff can get boring, but I think the more we get into the raw details of really what's here and how this thing all came about, the Corporate Transparency Act will be seen a whole lot different by the time the deal is over. So I'm just comb over some stuff, because again, we can be here for hours breaking this stuff down. But in this act, you've got Department of Defense authorizations handling everything in procurement. That's the world I live in. So what they buy as far as military and the government comes through here, what they buy and how they buy it. So a lot of folks is in government contracts and don't even touch this on social media, which I'm kind of surprised they don't, because this is what shows you really where the money's going. Who's got it? Where's it at? From Air Force programs to Navy, the F-35 aircraft, gun systems. I mean, everything here is drawn down. Procurement, procurement, procurement. These 4,000 pages will give you the guide for what you're going for the rest of the year and even future plans. Okay. Sustainability when it comes to chemistry, research and development, all that's in here. You've got some cybersecurity department, transportation programs that are in here. You've got energy and environment in here. I'm just keep scrolling, and I'm going to jump down in just a second. Logistics and sustainment is here. So you folks that is in logistics, this will help you out tremendously. Let me keep going. I want to show you all. They've even got they've got artificial intelligence planning in here. Of what they're looking at research and development wise. There's a lot, man. There's a whole lot. But let's jump to right the first place in here where it says benefit ownership. You can comb through a PDF, but some of you know this already. But if not, you can search for whatever word you want. And the topic, if you scroll back, improving anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism, communication, oversight, and processes. Again, I don't go off how I feel. I'm not a conspiracy theorist person or nothing. I just go by the facts of what's in front of me. And right here it says improvement and improved interagency coordination, consultation, subcommittees, establishing the Bank Secrecy Act, information security officers, FinCEN analytical hub, FinCEN's analytical hub, right? There are a data repository, okay? And then right here, establishing the beneficial ownership information reporting requirements. It all started here with this Department of Defense act, sorry. GOA and Treasury studies on beneficial ownership information. They've done studies on this already to know what to put out and why. And if you read through all of this, it has nothing to do with trying to hurt small business. They tell you exactly why and what they're looking for when it comes to who's hiding money. They really upfront about a lot of stuff in China and Russia. And it's in black and white. They don't hide this stuff at all. And as you comb through, look, you'll see Eliza E. Cummings Coast Guard Authorization Act. There's an anti-discrimination piece in here for military personnel, access to child care for Coast Guard families. There's a lot in the bills, man. There's a whole lot. But let's just jump down one more time. So what we're looking at again, this is number 4, beneficial owner information. Bring it up again. A timeline for issuance of regulations, development of training, and appropriate officials and development of systems for reporting of the beneficial ownership, right? All of this is in here in great, great, great detail. FinCEN for beneficial ownership information. The Bank Security Act is in here. So I don't kill y'all with this data over data over data. But this thing is in here 72 times. So what I did is I went through all 72 times. I mean, I broke it up in a couple of days here and there. But for the most part, I've gone through this entire document of where beneficial ownership information is, where the Corporate Transparency Act came from, right? And then what I want to do was let's see. So the Department of Defense started this thing. It started with their particular act. Then who has it now? Well, let's see. So if we go over to the United States Department of Treasury, their fact sheet, U.S. Department of Treasury, actions to prevent and disrupt corruption. This is December 11th, which today this is recorded on the 22nd. So not long ago at all. Since the release of the U.S. strategy on countering corruption 2 years ago, this is released today. This thing's going to take effect next month in 2024. U.S. Department of Treasury has redoubled its efforts to address the illicit finance and national security threats posed by corruption, right? Go down a little bit further. They're preventing the laundering of corrupt proceeds. So people are making money, profits, and they're preventing the laundering of these proceeds. Corrupt actors, and this title comes up a lot. I'm kind of funny with it, but they talk about these people as corrupt actors, continue to exploit vulnerabilities. What are vulnerabilities? Well, when you click on it, this 79 page National Money Laundering Risk Assessment, that was February 2022, last year. Okay, break down all these things. Special focus on exploiting stimulus measures, vaccine fraud, fake cures, drug trafficking, professional money laundering, bulk cash smuggling, funnel accounts. They go into all of the vulnerabilities, right? So when we're looking at this thing about, oh, they're worried about small business, now they understand that small business contributes to 45 to 60% of national GDP. They don't want us, we're in a global economic war here. So people are coming on U.S. soil and funneling money incorrectly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's got to be addressed. Enhancing corporate transparency. This is where the Corporate Transparency Act really comes down. The department has prioritized efforts to implement the Corporate Transparency Act to prevent corrupt and other actors, there it goes again, from laundering illicit funds through anonymous companies in the U.S. So when you're submitting your beneficial ownership information, you want to show the government, hey, I got my NAICS code. This is what I'm doing. This is the type of work that we're doing, right? Let them know who you are. Now you can go and again, there's ways around it. You hear a lot about wanting to set up a trust and then hold the companies, and that is proper for that. We have that set up. I advise a lot of clients to do the same thing, but at a certain revenue level. I know clients that are, and even colleagues of ours that are 40, $50 million companies, and they're still in LLC. They're still in LLC, winning awards in multiple categories on national stages all over the place. Yeah, 20 to $100 million companies that are still structured as an LLC. So I don't want you to think that, oh, let me go run out and avoid this process. Because it could be seen as you notice, the more you read into this thing, they're looking to unmask, right here, unmasking shell corporations as a single most significant thing we can do to make our financial system inhospitable to corrupt actors. This is coming from Janet Yellen, okay, the Secretary of the Treasury. That line right here tells me all I needed to know. Enacted by Congress in 2021, the Corporate Transparency Act, right? Right here. Many companies formed and operating in the United States to report information about the beneficial owners to the Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, which will store the sensitive information in a secure, confidential database. So just like you got your EIN from, right? Just like you got your state registered entity, same thing. So technically, FinCEN is like a cousin to the Treasury. Okay. They have to share this information. They don't share. There's laws that show that they can't. So now they have to. Just like Dun and Bradstreet, the different entities that we report to. This is just one more of them. And they give you time over time over time why they're safeguarding residential real estate sector. Why are they safeguarding that? This video today is not for that, but all these links are going to be in this particular video at the bottom. But I would say those of you in the real estate sector, and I know a lot of you, you might want to take a piece at why the CTA Act is safeguarding residential real estate sector, addressing risk in the investment advisory sector, bolstering the private sector. And all of these links right here, all of these are advisory sectors. And I want to blow just one up just so y'all can see. Let me move my little Zoom thing out the way here. There's about 6 of these advisory links. This is FinCEN advising foreign public corruption. Okay. This is coming from Biden's office. This is in 2022. Okay. Again, I see a lot of this because I'm in the government contracting space. So this stuff comes up all the time. Look right here at the bottom. Russia further invasion of Ukraine. So this is way bigger than them trying to worry about small business, y'all. It really, 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 truly is. But before I go to the next PDF, again, Corporate Transparency Act, I want to go into the beneficial ownership checklist. And this link will be at the bottom. Check it out. I want you to go through it. And I'll show you right now what that looks like and why this particular part is important. We saw how it started. We saw where it's at. Now, if you're on the FinCEN site, okay, let me get out and get back in just to make sure, because I'm recording this. I don't want this thing not to show correctly. So we are on FinCEN's website, fincen.gov/BOI. It will give you everything you need to know. If y'all haven't gone in here, please go. The brochure I'm about to pull up is here. There's a short video and an informative video of exactly what they're doing. Okay. It's short and to the point, real sweet, not an issue at all. I mean, they give it to you as plainly as I can see. Please go here. Please dabble into this because it will give you specifically where you should be. Now, make sure I go here. Like I said, I don't want this to be missed. All right. Small entity compliance guide. This is 57 pages of I would feel if you're going to really get into this and you don't have this, go through it. Go through it. Okay. September 2023 is the original version. December is when they have the revised version throughout to incorporate extensions of reporting timelines for reporting companies created on after 2024, before 2025. So a lot of the fear mongering that I'm hearing on social is inaccurate because, again, this is coming out. This is why I wanted to wait until I put my video out because I knew this revision was coming up. Okay. They do, like I said earlier in one point of this particular video, they do studies on this stuff. They're not trying to lock people up. It's because you don't report. That's a good point. Of course, everything is a cause and effect. You do this, that happens. You do this, that happens. So yes, there's penalties in play, and yes, jail time is probable and highly likely if you just totally deny this. And we'll get into that. I want to go through, and again, I'm not going to chop this up like crazy. You guys can definitely do your homework on this, but I want to just cover real quick. Chapter 1, does your company have to report its beneficial ownership? Is my company a reporting company? Is my company exempt? All this is here. Who is the beneficial owner? Now, here's the terms that I want us to catch. What is substantial control? Having 25% or more ownership in the company. This will be here. I'll show it to you. Who is ownership interest? What steps can I take to identify my company's beneficial owners and who qualifies for exemption? Chapter 2 is where a lot of y'all are going to sit. Does your company have to report its company applicants? Read that very carefully because it'll show if I'm beneficial owner of my companies, right? But my attorney or my CPA is the one that actually filled out the paperwork. So they will fall under that applicant piece. So you'd have to be on it, and whoever filled out your paperwork has to be on it. Don't miss that and read through this carefully and bring this to your accountant or your attorney to make sure that they're on board. But listen, if you're still listening to this in 2023 and you already have an entity out there, you got all of next year to file. If you file within 2024, you got 90 days. If you open up one in 2025, you got 30 days. Okay. If you have to make any changes, they give you leeway and they give you time. Once it's addressed, they give you X amount of time to do it. So let's jump into that. Introduction to fincen, we got that. Reference in the guide for beneficial ownership, company applicants, go through that. When do I need to file? I just covered it. Reports will be accepted starting January 1st. They don't even put it out yet. So it won't come out until January 1st. Reporting companies created or registered to do business before January 1st will have additional time until January of next year, 2025, to file their BR reports. Reporting companies created or registered after January 1st have 90 calendar days after receiving actual or public notice that their company's creation and registered is effective to file. Specifically, this 90-day deadline runs from the time the company receives actual notice that the creation or registration is effective, okay, or after the Secretary of State or similar office first provides public notice of the creation or registration. I know in New York, you have to have public notice, right? Yeah, let's get back to this point here. When do you file? Reporting companies created or registered on or after January 1st will have 30 days. Reporting companies after 2025, 2025, January 1st, you have 30 days. You're going to have time. Where can I find additional information for BRI reporting? It's all here, right? What does this guide include? No, I want you to do your own homework, but this breaks down exactly what you need to know. Does my company have to report, right? It's beneficial ownership. Chapter 1, it will show you what that is. Is my company a reporting company? It's all here. I don't want to break this whole thing down because we'll be here forever, but under what law was the company created and formed? US law or foreign law? There's been some discrepancies out there. Well, if you're a foreign company, you don't report. Well, you might want to read this. And it lays it out very succinctly, very specifically. Is the company or corporation? Is the company LLC? Now, we hear a lot about only LLCs. No. Is the company a corporation? Is the company an LLC? It breaks it all down to tell you exactly what's it does. It does. It does. It does. It does. Okay, now this I did want to cover. Is my company exempt from the reporting requirements? The reporting rule exempts 23 specific types of entities, right, from reporting. An entity that qualifies for any of these exemptions is not required to submit a BOI report to FinCEN. It's very specific, these 23. Securities reporting, government authorities, an actual bank, credit union, depository, money services business, broker or dealer, security exchange, other exchanges, investment company, venture capital, insurance, state licensed insurance, producer. They're very specific about this. Large operating companies, I want to say it's over 20 employees. Okay. Subsidiary, certain exempt entities, inactive entities. They break that down, but basically, if you haven't used your company for a year or two and you haven't pushed $1,000 through it, then you're considered an inactive entity and you have to file as such. Okay. If you guys can see, the Corporate Transparency Act is broken down into much, much more specific detail than what we may have initially seen. Who's the beneficial owner of the company? If your company is a reporting company, your next step is to identify the beneficial owner, exercising substantial control over the reporting company, or owns or controls at least 25% of the ownership interest. What is substantial control? What is ownership interest? It breaks all this down. And I think any small business, even if you haven't started a business, would be wise to go through these and see what this means. What is substantial control? Right? Senior official, appointed or removal authority, important decision makers. It breaks all this down. It's very simple to go through. Who, I'm sorry, what is ownership interest? Breaks that down. Equity, stock, capital, profit, convertible instruments, options of privilege, catch all. And it's all on page, which is insanely good, right? What steps can I take to identify my company's beneficial owner? That's all here. So this is something you can definitely sit down with your legal team, with your advisors. If you don't have one, the SBA or SCORE, go to your chambers of commerce and have someone who's in that advisory capacity get with you guys to break this down. One, it'll help build relationships for you. Two, don't lean on your own understanding. Just tell us that, right? Examples of how to determine beneficial ownership, it breaks it down. Type of entity and LLC, ownership interest, capital or profits, or profit interest only, president and makes important decisions. It gives you multiple examples. As you can see, though, through this, and this is what I want you guys to really notice, and I'm going to kind of wrap the video up here. What you'll notice here with this Corporate Transparency Act, it's a form that you will have to fill out to show who has beneficial ownership. And that checklist gives me, even if I didn't know, and a lot of it I don't want to assume. So let me go through and just see. I got all year to go through it. I'm gonna take some time over the holiday once things kind of calm down. And my staff, Kendra and I, we're gonna go over it. Just reading it, I already know how to fill it out. I already know in essence, but I'm gonna read it to make sure the things that maybe I didn't catch. Again, I don't want to assume. I just want to know what it's telling me, what is it saying, and why do I have to do it? If I know, then I can advise my clients to know. And they're coming to me now, Coach, what should we do? What's this or what's that? I said, you know what? I know pretty much all of you guys' businesses. Just take a moment, relax, breathe. You don't have to worry about it. Should I put it in a trust? I'm not going to do it at all. I'm hearing so many things. So let me give my professional just advice. These things aren't going away. And if you look at USA Spending and FPDS.gov, and you look at the reach and the amount of spend that the Department of Defense has, they don't do these things by accident. You saw earlier in the video all the data I showed with that. The Corporate Transparency Act is no just sleight of hand. It's here for a reason. And from what we've read, not how I feel, what I think, from what we've read, it is for the benefit of us as small and medium-sized businesses of various revenue sizes. So I'm not worried about submitting my beneficial ownership because other government entities have it anyway. And it's going to a private, enclosed federal agency regardless, who's looking for bad actors, as they said in the documents. And they use those terms a lot, bad actors, corruptive actors, corruptive international actors. I'm not one of those. And submitting that paperwork lets all three know, okay, well, we see this person, go ahead. Okay. But if you have fraudulent activity, getting the good advising attorney to help you out. But I would not try to hurry up and change my entity because it's already out there. Now, if you get advised properly and you want the protection in that anonymity and you don't want to, well, there's a certain way to do that. And I'm not saying don't do it, but don't try to get around and find a workaround not to do this. Find a reason to do it best for what suits you and your company's mission and vision. Some of you want to be known as who owns the company. We often complain about not getting access to funding or projects as a woman or a veteran or certain communities of that are historically underutilized or discriminated against or marginalized communities. I want to be known who owns certain firms that I'm running so that I can get my business certified and take advantage of programs and initiatives and diverse supplier situations, et cetera. So get with a good advisor who can say what your mission and vision is and does this affect it or not? And how does it affect it? But for me, Corporate Transparency Act is really just another document that I'm going to fill out, execute. I'll be in compliance. I want to be able to sleep good at night and not worry about anything, and just keep it moving. Really, at the end of the day, just keep it moving. I think social media has sometimes fear-mongered it and made it more than what it is. And I hope this video showed you what exactly it was and really how deep this thing has gone and will go, and the true intentions behind why this has been happening since 2020, 2021, 22, and now, and going into 2024. So hope you enjoyed the information. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We will keep bringing this type of information to you from a reliable, trusted source. We work with various agencies, various companies. We've got clients throughout the US and abroad, and we want to make sure that we are a trusted source of reliable information, trusted, vetted information that you can go to these links, look it up yourself, and make a decision on your own without having to worry and fear or just be like, it's so confusing. Now, just make it simple. Coach Austin here. I'll set you guys later. Be good.